Hello everyone, this is Ange. Welcome to another episode of the Visual Novel Monthly Recap, this time talking about news related to August of 2024. Many Nukige fans last month told me I missed this important title, so I'll mention it here quickly. Kagura Games released Angel Tier, Goddess Betrayed, developed by Syrup Mini Milk. It appears to be a magical girl Nukige but with an actual plot, just lots of bad endings and only one good true ending. Sadly, it appears due to credit card payment processors cracking down on explicit content payments, Sakai Project and Denpasoft were forced to take down many of their hardcore Nukige titles off of the Denpasoft store. Thankfully, if you did actually buy any of these titles before, you can contact Denpasoft support to get your titles through Cloud Share. Frontwing released their newest Nukige full of ridiculously sized breasted women, OPPAI Succubus Academy, Sucky and Busty, Demonic and Lusty. At the beginning of August, Nekonian announced more new titles after about 2 years of not announcing any new ones. For those who like Asa Project, weeding good, because we got 3 announcements. Firstly, Nekonian announced they'll be translating the fan discs for Koikari, Love for Hire, After Hours. We're also going to get Renai X Royale fan discs Victory Parade. There's also Futamata Renai 2 Times the Trouble, a title I've been particularly looking forward to since it's Asa Project comedy but set in university instead of high school. For those who wanted Making Lovers' dating mechanics and short common route but wanted it in high school, Nekonian announced SME's Making Lovers' First Blush, originally called Haji Love in Japan. Looks like Nekonian got yet another Soul Press rescue as they are translating Happiness 2 Sakura Celebration, a moe set in a magic school originally developed by Windmill Oasis. They also got Kami Kimi, or what they're localizing to Hacking the Moon to Find My Goddess. This one is notable as this will be the first title developed by Cube to have a real, non-machine translation. Note, for those in the know, this will be the extended edition that got even more praise for adding a console route with H scenes and generally more CGs, routes, and event scenes. For those who like Little Sister Moe Nukige, especially Onikiss, Nekonian announced another Tinkle position title, Onigyu Hold Me Tight All Night Oni-chan. The gimmick appears to be you, the MC, constantly hug all your little sisters. Quite possibly, Nekonian's biggest announcement was Hatsuyuki Sakura, developed by Saga Planets. This is one of the most highly regarded Nakige for people who only read in Japanese, so it's great that this will be translated. I'm guessing this will be based on the 10th anniversary release in Japan with modern resolution, so you don't have to read on the older 10-year-old 1280 resolution. Despite being developed by Saga Planets, the main writer for Hatsuyuki, Nijima Yu, did not write for Kinkoi, and in fact has done titles like Witch's Love Diary and many of the true routes for Summer Pockets. I normally don't talk about vague, already announced translation project timeline updates, but I know there's lots of Ubisoft fans out there. It looks like Angelic Chaos Reboot is still waiting on the Chinese translation and might release in 2025. On the other hand, it looks like Nekonian is now finally deciding to just go through with trying to release Dracu-Riot HD sometime in summer and fall first. Frontwing and Bushiroad released a visual novel on Steam and Switch based on the popular anime and manga about theatrical acting, Revue Starlight El Dorado. As far as I see, this is a pure visual novel with no gameplay. I'm also told this is actually a canon direct continuation of the series after the original anime and movie. So for those who wanted to see more of the progression of the story and don't mind the visual novel medium for that, you have that through El Dorado. Type Moon released Fate Stay Night Remastered on Steam and Switch. This is the title that was first released in Japan way back in the early 2000s, cementing Type Moon as one of the visual novel behemoths and creating many a spin-off and anime. The fact that we have the original Rialta Nua version on Steam with modern resolution and many great quality of life features like an in-game flowchart is great, though many may be saddened that there will be no official 18+ patch to experience Nasu's hilariously infamous H-scene writing. For the first few hours on release on Steam specifically, there was one huge bug for Fate Remastered. The characters' sprites and backgrounds were very incorrectly mismatched. This created jarring scenes with spoilery character sprites showing within the prologue of this massive 50+ hour visual novel. This did get fixed quickly, but if you see internet memes talking about the line, "Hey, it's Tosaka," or even a Fate Stay Night Remastered randomizer, this is what people mean. A personal prayer of mine has been answered as Type Moon announced that they'll be translating a remastered version of Fate Hollow Ataraxia. It's a sequel, I suppose, to Fate Stay Night, but not in the way you'd expect. It has goofy slice-of-life scenarios with many of the characters from the original Fate Stay, but also a new plot featuring new characters like Bazette, Avenger, and Kaden. JAST announced that they'll be translating Hokago Education, developed by SQ, the developers of the Relord series and Yamizomi Revenger and Liberator. This looks like a rather amusing Nukige where you, the main character, are a student and all of the heroines are teachers. Shirobune announced that the series of Criminal Border will continue getting translated through its third entry. The way things are going, we'll likely have the final entry, Life Sentence, by mid-2025. A brand new fan translation attempt is being done for the popular Denpa visual novel Sayoshi or Sayonara o Oshiete. It appears to be an effort by user Kakeda Sky, who's currently doing the original Sui no Sora translation. It also seems like an effort to rectify the supposedly really bad fan translation attempt from an Anon in 2021. Sadly, the continuation of Visa MasterCard suspensions continue, as now Tora Noana, one of many popular Japanese stores to buy R18 products like visual novels, got hit with the banned use of Visa and MasterCard payments. Reminder, this is because those payment processors are heavily against processing lewd content purchases. While we're on the topic of classics getting on Steam, we can't forget the surprise re-release of Katawa Shoujo by 4 Leaf Studios. This is arguably the most influential visual novel for older Western visual novel fans to get into the medium. It's always been 100% free, developed by a team from 4chan of all people, has a unique concept of all disabled characters, and all of the memes have helped make Katawa Shoujo a fondly remembered Western-developed visual novel. This re-release on Steam can help get to fans of visual novels that got through the medium through GDLC, though it's unfortunate Katawa is not getting an official Modern Resolution re-release. Thankfully, there is still a fan patch on GitHub to make Katawa HD, which I hope you can apply to Steam eventually. A translation of Stay Fragments of Memories is out. This is a doujin game inspired by Jun Maeda's One. It was written and illustrated by people who would later work on Clover Days and Onigako. Manek and Manyo, future partners of Key, composed the BGM. Shirobune announced Real Eroge Situation DT. This is the newest of an ongoing Nukige series and was apparently at least one of the Moe Anime Award visual novels that Shirobune hinted that they were working on. Shirobune re-released one of their first titles ever that was originally Joran only, Suzukuri Dungeon Cotton in the Mountain. As far as I know, this is a gameplay-heavy visual novel set in the universe of Koihime Muso. Gekko Kujo Translations started a fan translation for Dreamin' Her. This is a visual novel by the same company and writer who did 7 Days. For those who are interested in Tales from Toyotoki Arrival on the Witch on console, it's now available on Nintendo eShop and the PlayStation Store. Prototype announced there's going to be a Switch port of Still of the End with Japanese, Chinese, and English text options later this year. JAST released Dreamlike Love with Sarah, a title they announced at Anime Expo a month ago. This is a maid-themed Nukige that explicitly takes place in the protagonist's dream. JAST at Anime NYC had a small handful of announcements. A fully voiced version of Dead End Aegis got announced. For reference, in the original, only all the female characters were voiced. Now you get to hear the ugly bastards in their fully voiced glory. They also announced Minagoroshi no Otome, a Yuri revenge tragedy title by the same developer as Dead End Aegis, Metalogic. They are aiming to have this as a simul-release with the Japanese version, which is currently slated for October of 2025. In a really interesting reversal, while JAST got an Alisoft title from MangaGamer last month, MangaGamer proceeded to get an Empress series from JAST. This time, MangaGamer got Sleepless, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and its sequel, Nocturne. Daybreak Translations released a fan translation of Majikoi A Hound After. For reference, this is a sequel to Margit's Route in Majikoi A5, which in turn is a sequel of Margit's Route in Majikoi S. So make sure to read those before checking out Hound After. Speaking of though, Ryoken or Hound After is a polyamory route with Margit's German subordinates, the Hound Unit. For those who are interested in the Famicom Detective Club remakes, the newest one, Emio the Smiling Man, released on the Nintendo eShop. Sprite, the developers of Koichako and Aokana, released an all-ages Yuri girls' love title, Everlasting Flowers, Where There Is a Will, There Is a Way. Given that it came out at the way end of the month, I don't have too much personal information on it, but it appears to be a very emotional story, and given that it's by Sprite, likely has excellent presentation as usual. A fan translation was released for the remake of Sui no Sora. For reference, the original Sui no Sora is the first game by Kero Q and the first title by a legendary Denpa VN writer, Skaji. Suinosora Remake is noted to include a fully rewritten script that is 1.5 times the size of the original Suinosora and a whole new work of its own. Speaking of that, generally Dempa and Skaji fans actually recommend reading Suinosora Remake after Wonderful Everyday or Subahebi, since apparently there are direct references to Subahebi that makes the Suinosora Remake a pseudo-sequel of sorts to Subahebi. Due to an accidental YouTube leak, Palette announced a spin-off to 9-9 we don't know much about outside that it's all ages and apparently written by the Nekopara 1-3 writer. We don't even know if Sekai Project or even Shirobune will translate it yet. And that is it for August of 2024. As always, if you have any feedback, positive or negative, feel free to leave a comment below or one of my social medias. Now it's time for the monthly shoutouts, the first of course being Local Weeb, who's been doing most of my video editing. Next is their YouTube memberships, with Armorian in the VN Weirdo tier for 8 months, Alberio in the VN Weirdo tier for 10 months, Sabinfire, who's been in the VN Super Weirdo tier for 12 months, David Mendiola, who's been in the VN Super Weirdo tier for 14 months, Lee Douglas, who has been in the VN Weirdo tier for 15 months, Marie Antoinette, who's been in the VN Super Weirdo tier for 15 months, Dexter Boston Terrier Dog RIP, who's been in the VN Super Weirdo tier for 17 months. Finally, Bartek, who's been a Kohi paying member for several months now. Much appreciated to all of you.